think it's just as easy as the MLS search?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's once you start using it, I mean, one of the things that we can look at is who's using it and who's not using it. Like I can see that. And I think once you start using it, it's actually even easier. And then it's got a bunch of benefits that the MLS search doesn't have as well. I love the stalking nature of it, where you can see what your clients are doing and what they're looking at. So let me open it up. All right, so the first time, Patrick, have you ever logged on to it?
I
No
think
is an acceptable answer.
no, I think I have. Let me just well, I think I did when like let me see.
I'll be able to tell you if you did.
Yeah, I have people that like I have 8 clients, but I've never really like messed with it too much. I think mostly I used it for when I was getting for open houses, and then I would get those people and they would go pretty much go right into Real Scout.
Right. So, okay, so just to give you an overview, since Maggie and what I just did. Since Maggie and Melissa are watching, and since we're recording this for people who can't be able to watch it, so when the first time you log into it, and I'm going to go back to it, you log in through Howard Hanna, through your GoHanna portal right here, and you just let it log in by itself. It's going to ask you maybe for a login. Just pause. It will log in by yourself. And you don't have to set up an account or anything like that. Your account is already all set up. So I can, like I said, I can see some things. I can see who's using it, who's not using it, and it's all good. Some people use it, some people don't use it. It is connected to your Open to Close account, and it is connected to your Engage. So it means that if you put any client in here, they're also going into Engage. If anyone goes into your Open to Close at an open house, they go from Open to Close to Real Scout to Engage. They go in all 3 of them. However, if you put them into Engage, they don't go into Real Scout and Open to Close. So putting somebody in either through Open to Close or through Engage or through Real Scout is the best way to do it, because then they're going to go everywhere. One of the reasons that I personally like this program so much is this dashboard right here. And so you can see on the dashboard, now I obviously don't have buyer clients, so this isn't packed with a ton of people. I have a search set up for myself that just follows Lakewood. And so this is my search right here for Lakewood. So anytime something lists new for a single family house in Lakewood, I get an email as if I was a client. And so this is what it would look like if your clients were getting emails. I have my email set up. My alert is set up that I get an email ASAP. So as soon as something lists, I get the email. You can set the alert up where they get an email once a day or where they get an email once a week. In this market though, you probably, if somebody's hot to trot in Lakewood, you probably do have to set them up ASAP. But that's why it looks like there's so many emails. So you can see these are all the emails that my test account received. You can see that I opened this one up here, which is really nice. And I'm not sure if we keep scrolling down. Looking for one that says that like I've opened this up for the 3rd time. Oh, right here. So you can see right here. Now, so this Mark is a friend of mine who's looking for some land outside of Cleveland, and I've got him set up on a search. But you can see that he viewed this property for the 3rd time. So at that point, I call Mark and say, Mark, have you seen this property on Warren in Meadville or in Kinsman or wherever it is? But you can see when he opened things up, when he viewed them, and it's a really nice way to keep an eye on what your clients are doing. Let's also look real quickly at a property. So we'll sort of go backwards. So this is what the email looks like that your client gets. Hi Tess, here's a home that matches your thing. It has an enclosed porch. It has natural language to it. So it's trying to seem very casual. And this is what it would look like when the client opens it. So it mimics Zillow, right? The way that it looks, which is intentional because we know that people like Zillow. So it's meant to look like Zillow likes because that's things that's what somebody's comfortable with. You know, they have the ability to put it in a box and compare it to other listings. They have ability, like they can click here and tell me yes or no. Like, no, this isn't it, not interested. Let's just take it right off the list. 3D Matterport tours do show up here. And then there are these questions over here that will help the program to determine what the right type of property is for them, where they can say, yes, I like the style of this. I like the features. I like the kitchen. I'm not crazy about the views. I'd like it to be a little bit nicer. I don't like the price. And so what that does when your client uses that little box is, number one, you get that information. But number two, it makes this Real Scout system and software smarter for them. And so it will say, okay, if it liked the aesthetics and style of this house, and let's see what this house looks like. So this house is not a gray house, right? It's not freshly remodeled. So it senses that, it sees that. And it will, whenever a house that's not gray remodeled say, this house might fit your style more than the other ones that you're seeing in that natural language that it does. So from the customer, I love it. Let me go back into the dashboard. Oops, I hate this bar from Real Scout.
So basically what I should, if I decide to ultimately use this, I should probably tell them to unsubscribe to the MLS one, or I can actually probably delete it.
You would do it, yeah.
And then I can just set them up with this and tell them to resubscribe.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a need, if you've already got somebody on the MLS and that's what they're comfortable with and that's what they know. You could give them this as an alternative and ask them which one do you like better. I wouldn't take the other one away from them right away. I would say, hey, we've got this other thing and I really like it. I think it's a little bit easier to use. Like, why don't you play around with it for a day? If you like it better, we'll switch your search over to here because it has some more bells and whistles.
Yeah, well, the thing that, the reason why I sent that mass email to Lakewood office was because of the fact that one of the people that uses the MLS, when it switched over, she goes, I don't like this now. It doesn't give me the square footage. It doesn't give me certain things. So I told her she only wants emails once every Friday. So I told her, I said, by this Friday, I'll make sure that I change her over to something else, which is going to be Real Scout.
Okay. Yeah, in that situation, definitely. Because everything is spelled out pretty nicely on here. It is a nice customer interface and user experience. You can see over here on the dashboard that the client can message you through the listings as well. They can request appointments. They could just ask you questions. And so I'll make sure to go over how you make sure that you're getting those messages, because those messages now will be texted to you. And so you'll get the text that says, would around 3 o'clock work? And I will go over that eventually. All right, but so that is an overview. Let us start very quickly just on the very simple basics, because for the sake of the reporting, if you're doing this and you've never watched it before, or if you've never used it before, I want you to just sort of know the very basics. First thing I want you to know is over here under support, there is help and tutorials. And they are about 2 to 3 minute videos that show you how to do everything on here. It's micro learning, it's fantastic. So if you ever feel like you can't figure something out and you need the support right away, and it's 2 in the morning or something like that, you could probably find your answer there. But so let's start with you want to make sure that your account is set up. So you want to go to your profile, and whenever you get logged onto this.
So you're telling me that I can't call you at 2 in the morning if I have a question about Real Scout?
Yeah, that's like the bartenders calling me and asking me, where's the amaretto at 2 a.m. And I'm just like, you've got to be kidding me.
Where's the
All right,
grenadine
so,
at?
right. So your profile should basically be set up. Your picture
Okay.
should have navigated over from Howard Hanna.
I have
All
it
of this
set up.
information.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, all of that should be set up, but you can add additional stuff where you can you can add your social media profiles down here.
Okay.
You can change this default message. So anytime you set somebody up on Real Scout, this is the email that's going to come into it. So my default message is very simple. There's a different default message that's in there. You would just want to read it and see if it seems like natural language for you. To me, it was too formal. It was too stuffy. So I just changed mine to a very quick sentence. So you'll want to make sure that you edit that and save that. And then this URL right here is actually it's a landing page. So you could share this on social media. We'll talk about a couple different things that you could use this to lead capture on social media. I can't tell if it's opening up or not.
Not yet.
But we'll go to that in a minute. So you just want to make sure that your profile page is accurate and has the right picture of you. You can change your picture. And so we're going to start with the thing that you would probably use the most. So let me land on the dashboard because that is where you would land if you get into the program. I'm sorry, I went to the wrong page. My computer has all of a sudden started working very slowly. I'm just going to close a few things out here. All right, so I like to just start on the dashboard because that's where you would start when you come into the program, and it helps you just navigate. So from the dashboard, you can create a new client and you can create a new alert. Up here, you would have an idea of how many of your clients are active this week, how many emails were opened today, and the number of homes that were viewed. And you could see, if there was anybody that you needed to attend to right away. So let's start with add client. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if everybody else is like this, but I don't have the shared page anymore. I just have you talking.
Oh, okay, hold on. No, I might have closed it by accident.
Okay, it's coming back.
I appreciate you telling me.
I can just listen to you talk.
Right, and picture it. It's a visualization class. All right, you can see it now, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the dashboard, and you want it to add a client. You go up here and hit add client. This is like pretty normal. And so when you're adding a new client, you want to most likely, let's say that you've got a husband and wife that are searching for something. You want them to get the same search, right? You don't want him to have a search and her to have a search. You want them both to have the same search. So you would use this box. The way that the first name is how they're going to be addressed in their emails. So it could be the Janice family, right? Or it could be, and then I would probably put their last name over here just because this is also going to go into Real Scout eventually. Or you could put, Bob and Becky. And then whenever the emails went to them, the email would be say, Dear Bob and Becky, or Dear the Janice family. And so then it would be Bobo at Janice.com, whatever his email is, comma, Becky at Janice.com. So two emails on one client is fine. You just have to separate them by a comma. Put their phone number in just because it will go into Real Scout, so it's going to save you a step. Source, I think it's very important that you put the source whenever you remember what the source is, because you will know, and Patrick, you may not have experienced this yet, and some of the newer agents might not have. Someone could be on your search for 2 years before they buy something, and then when they finally buy something and you're going back at the end of the year and doing your business planning, you literally have no idea. Like all of a sudden you're like, oh no, they're my friends. Yeah, they're not your friends. You actually became friends with them after you met them at an open house on Main Street. So you want to put the source down whenever you get started with them. And then the financial information, pre-approved, cash buyer, not pre-approved, don't know. And then here's where you have a choice, where you can either set up the alert or they could set up the alert. So if you opt to send them, if you hit the client sets up the alert, it will send them that welcome page that we just looked at, and they will be able to do the whole thing. I do think it's better that you, the agent, set up the alert, at least for the first time, and then they'll see once they're in the system, they could set up new alerts for themselves. It's very simple. So we're going to set up an alert for a client, but I'm going to put in just a new test account. Ooh, it is warm out here again today. My poor computer is going to catch on fire. I'm a cash buyer. All right, so I am going to set up the alert for the client. So who will set up this listing alert? Me. Email has already been taken. Darn it. Oh, I'm running out of emails here. Gmail. All right. So it's very, very simple. So the first thing it's going to ask you, is this a residential search or is it a multifamily search? So you have to know that those two things are different. So you can't do rental searches in here at the moment. You can do residential, land, or multifamily, or you can do all classes. Exclusive means that they're just searching Find It First for Howard Hanna. So, that is something that we've talked about in the Find It First class, where it might be handy if every single agent sets up a Find It First search that just sends it to themselves. That way you're aware of what's happening with Find It First when something's not going to be popping up on the MLS, if that's your habit. So many of us, our habit is we wake up in the morning, we turn our computer on, and one of the first places we go to is the MLS to see what's happened. We go back 3 hours later, we go back 6 hours later. But if something's listing Find It First, you're not going to find it there. So it would be a really good idea if every agent set up an exclusive search for all of Cuyahoga County. I mean, there's not that many Find It First. You want to see all of them because those are the properties that you could use to win those buyers who are on the fence about working with you, right? They've already started a relationship with somebody else, or their Aunt Sally is a real estate agent. Those Find It First are your tool to say, hey, this is why you should be working with me. So I strongly encourage everybody to do that. But for now, we're just going to set up a residential search. My client you would need to set up 2 searches. Well, you know what, and I'm going to have to look at this because I can't quite remember. If the search is set up through Real Scout or through Open to Close, both of them are searched. I don't believe, I have to check. I can't remember if the Find It First are now all the time included with the residential. So that is a good question. And I honestly do not remember the answer to it. I apologize.
No, that's fine. I mean, like that would definitely be a reason to move everybody over from an MLS to Real Scout.
Right.
Is it if
right.
they get Find It First?
I will double check with Kate because I can't remember if at the beginning they did not have it. They had to be 2 separate searches, but I believe that they were able to fix that. But let's say they have it. Let's just play it safe and say you got to set up 2 separate searches because you don't want to miss those.
But you can't. But you technically can't set up 2 because they have separate emails. So I'd have to send it to myself and then send it to them. Is that?
No, I'll show you how to add an alert to a client. So a client can have 10 different alerts added to their account.
Gotcha. Okay.
So right now we're just going to set up a property search, an alert, and then I will show you how to do one, like add another one to a client. So you just select your client and hit start searching. And then all of the questions are going to come up. What area, what are we looking for? So for this particular search, I already have a search set up because this is going to actually get emailed to me. So I already have a search set up for me for Lakewood. So I am going to set up a search for me for Tremont. And, you know, I could do it one of two ways. I could do it via Area 105, or I can do it by a map. And so I'll show you both ways that we can do it. So here you can choose the status. So for a buyer, obviously you want to have active and coming soon. So active and coming soon would be my buyer. And so that's an MLS coming soon. Yeah, so exclusive is not on here on this list. So I do not believe that that is an option. I think it's a separate search. For a seller, because you would still want to make sure that you're using this for sellers. Sellers need to be following the market that's around them. They need to be, if you know a seller is 6 months out, you're going to put them on a system like this so they can start to see what things are selling for, what properties look like when they're presented, right? If you've got somebody who is a hoarder, but they want to charge top dollar for their house, you want to make sure that they're on this because they need to see that all of these other properties that are listed, like the photographs are gorgeous and they need to step up their game. So if we were doing a buyer, we would have active and coming soon. And if we were doing a seller, maybe we would have contingent, pending, pending expired, and sold, or just sold, you know, whatever works for you. So we're going to do this as a buyer. We're going to do active and coming soon. And sorry, my computer, both my kids must be in the house like online like crazy or something. So I'm going to do properties between 200,000 and 900,000, you know, because I'm in the market. And I could get pretty specific here, just like if I wanted to in the MLS. Number of bedrooms, square foot, style, bathrooms, property subtype, condominium. I want single families only. Now, you'll notice there's a few things that you don't see on here. Oh, let's do area. So if I wanted to do, I'm sorry, my computer is just dragging right now. So I could go in there and pick Cleveland 105. We'll see that comes up in a minute. Or I could use the postal code. Or I could use the map, which the way you would do the map is you can go over here. And so we know that Tremont is not in Canal Fulton. You can expand this map. It's below my bar of pictures here. So I'm going to just make my life easy. And I'm going to just put my circle right here. It's like thinking. So I'm just going to do it that way. You can do it as a polygon. You can do it as a square. Just for the sake of speed, I'm going to do it that way. And so now my search has done 27 results. So like I said a minute ago, there are things over here that you don't see. Some of the search parameters that people will search for is it has to have air conditioning or it has to have a garage. You know, at some point, someone's going to want a pool. Everybody wants a pool right now. And those aren't in that search. So let me show you how you add them. So down here at the bottom, it says add or remove search options. So for some of them, so this is pulled right off of the MLS. So you do have to know what the MLS calls this field. So I know for air conditioning, they call it cooling. So cooling type, and now I've added that as a question, and I'll show you where that comes up. I don't remember, right here at the bottom. So I could say that it must have central air. So that's taken, let's see here. That hasn't changed my search at all, actually. So 27 results. If I wanted to look for a garage, I would do the same thing. One thing that's always been challenging, even in the MLS, is to find something with the pool. So, but you know, if something has a pool and it has it at the house or it has a community, that it will, without a doubt, be mentioned in the public remarks, right? No one's going to let that slip by and be like, oh, let's just let them discover the pool. So you can also allow the remarks to search for you. So if I'm looking for a pool, or if I'm looking for a first floor owner suite, this is a great way to do that. So if I use, look for the field that says remarks, I'm going to click onto remarks. And now over here, I could actually just type in the word pool. And this is probably going to take me down to 0 results in the neighborhood of Tremont because nobody has a pool. But if you were looking out in Westlake, there's, you know, anywhere, if you were in Strongsville with one of the Bob Schmidt Homes developments that have the community pool, people put that in the public remarks. And so that's an easy way for you to narrow things down with just the words that would be in the remarks. So that would be my basic search. I'm gonna actually take away pool because I really do want to get this search. So I took both of those things away. So now I'm gonna go up here and click Save to Client. And so it is saving to test. And I'm gonna name it Tremont. So I know I have an opportunity to send this to myself. Which I recommend because there's nothing worse in the world. Well, there's probably worse things in the world, but it can be pretty embarrassing when a client knows more than you do and they call you and they say, oh my gosh, look at this property. Thank you for sending me that. That is the perfect property. And you have no idea what they're talking about. If you send it to yourself, at least you have like a really quick way to access it. So it email it to yourself. Suppress natural language intros. That's that little paragraph that was at the top that says you might like this house. It had a front porch. It had wide open spaces. Send open house reminders before each weekend. Personal decision. A lot of people don't like to send open house reminders to their clients because they're afraid their clients might go to an open house and be tempted to move away to another agent. But this is also where you change, is it daily, monthly, or disabled? What I would encourage you is whenever you have a client that goes under contract to disable their search, because that could be another uncomfortable situation when somebody's under contract and yet they keep looking and they find a house that they love better. So I just make it a part of the process that I disable their search, even if it's on the MLS or if it's on here, it will save you headache. And then you can say what day of the weeks they get sent. So Patrick, your client said they just want it on Fridays. So you would unclick all of these and it would only go out on Friday. And then you go up here and hit save. So this one is going to go out to me daily. Just once a day I will get that. And then it's going to ask me, do you want to send all of these unsent listings now? Since this is a brand new alert. And so I'm not going to add my subject and my verbiage here, but I'm just going to send these to myself. Now it has sent me all 14 of those listings. If I would have opted no, it would have put them in their queue, but it wouldn't have sent it to them. And then maybe I would have picked through and said, I want you to look at this one and this one. Because, you know, sometimes you're adding somebody to one of these searches and they've already been active as all heck on Zillow. And so you don't necessarily want to send them everything again. But then you could sort of just pick and choose and say, I just want to make sure you got these. All right. Any questions on that so far?
So yes, is this the point of the process where you show me how to do the add the alert for Find It First?
Yes. Yeah. So that would be real simple. Matter of fact, that's what we'll do. We'll combine 2 lessons now. Hold on one second. We will combine 2 lessons. We will combine
It did go away again. Okay.
Yeah, I'm putting it back out.
All right.
We're going to do how to do a Find It First one, and we're also going to do how do you add an alert to an existing client. So let's say Test also now decided that they wanted to shop in Bracknell. You know what, let's go with, I'll figure out where we're going. So they want to shop somewhere else. So up here you saw that it said add client and then add alert. So we already have this client in, so I'm just going to add an alert. And it's going to, again, ask me what system. So residential, we want to do exclusive searches for this one. That means we're adding the Find It First search. And we're adding it to Test right here. That's the client's name. So I'm adding it to Test. Testy Mary. Oops, I think I closed that by accident. And then we're going to hit Start Searching. All right, so this shows you that you're searching exclusive listings. For me, for exclusive listings, you can go and you can just put in a city. You know, you could say, I only want to know about Find It First in Lakewood. I only want to know about them in Fairview Park. I only want to know about them wherever. I can see just by this map right now that we don't have any on the west side, which is sad. But, you know, we've got a ton down here in, what's that, Poland down there maybe, Youngstown, Akron. And I would just set up the search here. I'll set it up, although it's not going to give me any at this point. So there's 0 in there. And then at that point, I'm just going to let all of the Find It First come to me. You know, there's so few of them. I want to see all of them. So I'm going to save that to the client, test, I'll label it Find It First, daily, and save. So that's how you add an alert or a Find It First to an existing client. Didn't result in any new matches, but in the event that anything lists, it will send it to me. All right, any questions on that?
Do you think it could be helpful just to like instead of putting her like Find It First, you just make your own one and then just have pretty much your scope of you know, what you do? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like,
you mean to send to yourself?
Yeah, and never do a Find It First for the client, because like, I mean, if there's so few of them, it's like not to have to do 8, 10 of them. I'll just, if I see something that like matches the criteria, I can just text them.
No, absolutely. I think a good step would be just do all of Cuyahoga County and Lorain County and Lake County, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then that way, whenever you see that it comes up, that gives you a reason to call the person and be like, hey, this is exclusive. It's not going to be on Zillow. You're not going to get this in your search. Like, I want to tell you about it. So it's a good touch. You know, if you're an agent who's super busy and you're running 15 clients around and you've got 7 listings, then maybe you do it where it's automated. And then what you can do is you can actually change the language, like make sure that you change the language for the name of the email to be like, these are the exclusive listings, or you're seeing this and everybody else doesn't, you know, just to give them an idea of the exclusivity of it. All right. So that is the bulk of how you use this. So there are other things that you can do with this. I'm going to stop this share just to make sure that nobody has any questions. No, okay. On the page. All right. So again, this is your dashboard. So that is, you know, 75% of what you're going to do with Real Scout is just that. It's allowing your clients to search in a very consumer-friendly environment where you could stalk them and they don't even know that you're stalking them. It's pretty amazing. This to me is very powerful. I had mentioned before about the messaging over here. So for this one, let me refresh my memory. So we need to go into settings. Yes, okay. So we need to go into settings, and over here where it says text notification, my number's in there, but when you go into this, your number's probably not going to go in there. So you need to send yourself a text message from the program. It will text you a 4-digit code, and then underneath here, the first time it'll ask you for that 4-digit code. And then at that point, once you've done that, any messages or appointment requests that happen in this system will actually just get texted to your phone. So you'll never miss it. And then over here, you've got, you know, the ability to send yourself weekly reports, daily reports. If somebody stars a listing because if they're interested, you can let them have the program send you a notification. And so there's just some more things that you can do to customize it. All right, so now down here, there's just a few other things. Let's see what time it is. All right, so I've got a couple more minutes. So I want to show you a couple of the other things that you can do with this. Oh, if you were ever asked, oh, okay, no, this is what it is. So there's an app that goes with this program. It is called Real Scout Agent. There are two apps when you're looking in the App Store or the Play Store. There's Real Scout Search, and there's one that's called Real Scout Agent. You want to put Real Scout Agent on your phone. And I can't show you this because I already have it on my phone. The first time that you do it, it's going to ask you to log in. It's going to ask you for an email and a password. And you don't have a password for this system because we use a single sign-on service through Gohanna. So you will put in your email, your Howard Hanna email, so ChristineMary@howardhanna.com, and then hit that you forgot your password, and it will send you a password to log into the app. So you're not using your Howard Hanna password. That is not your password to get into the app. Your clients have access to a search app as well, the Real Scout app. Again, it looks very much like Zillow. It's really, really friendly. If you can get it on their phone, they will enjoy using it. All right, some other things that are over here. So we did dashboard, we did clients. So search, you know, when I teach Fast Start, one of the things that I always tell everybody in Fast Start is if I see you sharing a listing from Zillow, like I will send you a nasty email, because you should never ever share a listing from Zillow, because that starts your client or your customer down the path of shopping on Zillow. There are two places, really, three, I guess, that you want to be sending your clients properties from, right? So you can send them through your website, so ChristineMary.howardhanna.com, because that, if they start to mess around, gets them to your website, or if they do any inquiries on any properties, it comes to you. You can do it through HomeSnap. I know a lot of people like HomeSnap on the fly. HomeSnap for me is like one of the best ways to search for a house if you're not at your computer and you're not like sort of engaged 100% into real estate. You're just walking down the street and you see a house with a sign in it and you want to know about it. HomeSnap is so easy. HomeSnap is nice as well for your clients because, again, it will get them back to you as long as they're registered as one of your clients. It has a really pretty interface, and I love the fact that it has all of the broker information on there. It has the commission, the broker's remarks, the disclosures. You know, it is, I love it for showing houses. To me, that is HomeSnap's true value, is when I'm out as an agent showing houses, I don't take a paper information sheet. I've got HomeSnap loaded up on my phone. The third place that you can share a property from is from here. Patrick, do you know off the top of your head the address of a property that's on the market?
I mean, I have the one that is under contract. Do you want one like that's under contract or no?
Yeah, let me know. Let me, oh, here, I just looked one up. Okay, so
Sorry, go
okay.
ahead. I have one. Do you want it?
No, it's good. So if you were, let's say I wanted to share this Colony Road in South Euclid property, which is just a piece of land, with my client. So, you know, when you're on your dashboard or when you're anywhere in this, this whole program, you can just go up to this top and type in the address. And so now I'm looking at it. I know that I'm viewing this as an agent because it says I could view it as the home buyer, view my matching buyers, share on Facebook, view listing as homeowner. But it's got like a lot of back of the house information. If I wanted to send this to a client, I would just copy this link right here, over here, and then that's what I would text to them, or that's what I would email to them, because then they're getting back into my system that's going to capture them. So what I do is if anybody ever sends me anything through Zillow, which drives me nuts, but let's say they do, they say, hey, I want to check out this property, and they share it to me through Zillow, I immediately go onto either Real Scout or ChristineMary.howardhanna.com, find that property, and I text it back to them in the system that I want them to be using. I say, oh, I found it, here it is. And then I would send it back to them in this, again, as an attempt to get them to be shopping in a system that I have control over, that I can see what their activity is. And I know that if they click on another listing and say, I'm interested, it's going to come to me. So that view as home buyer comes in very handy, and you want to make sure that that you are using it. All right, I'm going to go back to this, and I'm going to show you one more thing on the individual property screen. It's not going to be very impactful because I'm not going to have any buyers for this property, but there is this thing here that says view my matching buyers. And so if you click on that, it's going to show you like who it's been sent to, who it hasn't been sent to, and you might want to send it to people who it hasn't been sent to. This could be really useful if you're looking at a really hot property listing in Lakewood or Fairview Park or West Park, you know, something where, you know, maybe you have some buyers who aren't signed up in Real Scout, or they don't have alerts, or it's just going to be a super hot property and you want to be on top of it. You can use that My Buyers thing. It's a new function that they have. Again, on a property where I don't have any buyers, doesn't look very impressive. All right, a couple more things. Under listing tools. So keep in mind that this is all integrated with Engage. It's integrated with Open to Close, and it's also integrated information-wise with Buy Side. So there is a function in this program that sort of mimics the functions of Buy Side as well. You guys could check out market activity disclosures, but I want to show you Test the Market. So Test the Market is, if I was going to sell my mother-in-law's house on 1221 French Avenue, right? And I just put in a little bit of information here. And I think I think we should sell for 230. It is going to tell me what the buyer activity is at 230, what the buyer activity is at 240, at 220, 218. So here's where I say at 230. And according to this, there are 288 buyers that are active in the 230 price range in Lakewood. If I were to go a little bit lower to 218, let's say 220, I'm going to increase the number of buyers that are active by 7%. Now, all of a sudden, there's 308 buyers. If I continue to go up in price to 241, I'm going to have 3% less buyers, 15% less buyers, 20% less buyers. So this could be really helpful whenever you're trying to figure out how to price. Now, we have this tool in a couple of different ways now, right? We have this here, we have this in Buy Side as well, and there are functions in the MLS as well that show this. You have to figure out which is the tool for you, which is the one I can explain this very, very well. Like, this interface is so simple, a client would be able to understand this. And you know, in Buy Side, it's not exactly put this way. You know, it's more about the specific price that you're looking at. So figure out which of these tools works for the way your style of presentation is. This is very nice. Anybody can understand this. Market 360 is really just, if you have a listing, and I'm not sure if anything I have those two listings. Oh, this is an old listing, so I didn't sell this. It expired on me. Somebody else sold it from the Crockett team. I'm not sure if this is going to do anything just because it's an expired listing. So it will show you how many agents have sent this to their buyers. So it's like a reverse prospecting. Office is something that I have that you guys don't have. And then the last thing down here is extras. So you can see social media, integrations, widgets, and landing page. We're actually going to start at the bottom on landing page. So you have the ability to customize a landing page that you can share on social media to draw people in. And so this is the post that you make that says, you know, here's a really great tool for shopping for a home. Like, this has a really good interface. This looks just like Zillow. Anything that you want to say to get somebody to shop from a home there. But you can customize it to make it look like you want it to look like. So all of this is customizable, and I'm not going to change it because once I change it, then I start changing the whole thing. But you can see the little edit buttons pop up. All of these words, you could put shop for home with Chris Mary. Chris Mary is the best. Chris Mary is going to find you your next place. Whatever. You can change the picture that's back here, change photo. It lists what your recent sales and listings are, so there's some proof of success. You can add videos. So anything that is uploaded on YouTube can be embedded on here. So when I share this page now, it is customized to me. It's not just a shop for your homes here. It's this. And actually, let's take a look, because I don't know the answer to this, which everybody knows. You shouldn't ask a question that you don't know the answer to. But I'm going to go onto Facebook and I'm going to share this, and we're going to see what this looks like because I don't know. I just wanted to, I like messed it up. Well, it says error. That's not good. Which is why you always test things out. So I have to look and see why it's doing that. I don't know why it's doing that. See, that's why you don't ask questions you don't know the answers to. Right there. That's the perfect example. I will try to figure out if I got something. Oh, you know what? Because I was doing the wrong. Oh. Let's see what it looks like now. So it's not sharing a picture. Then I would probably make a photo that says something to draw people in, because there'd be more drawn in if there is a photo. It's just sharing the link. Oh, there we go. So, so your verbiage right there would definitely be important for what you, to draw people in. All right, so that is your landing page. The other thing that's on here is widgets. Don't worry about that. That's if you're embedding this into an outside website. If for some reason you're not using chrismary.com on Howard Hanna and you are paying a company to do a website for you, which, you know, is not a problem, but that just needs to be part of a very specific business plan where you know that you have taken advantage of everything else and then you're trying to grow in a different way. So I don't think very many people in our office have outside websites, but this is how you would embed that into it. Integrations, you don't really want to mess around with this too much. However, if you are a premier agent on Zillow, you can do that. This realtor.com should be filled out for you. You shouldn't touch that. Spacio is also completed for you. The only thing that's, I don't know why. I thought BombBomb was integrated on this, but maybe it didn't work out. So you really shouldn't be messing with this page at all. This is above your pay grade, above my pay grade. It's above my knowledge scale and yours as well. And then the last thing I want to point out is social media. And I'm sure that some of you have seen this. A lot of our agents in our office take advantage of this. This is where you can post on social media. Look at all of the open houses that are in Lakewood this weekend. Look at all of the houses in Lakewood and Rocky River that are over $1 million. Look at all the houses that are under $100,000. You know, anything that's going to pull somebody in. This is where you create that. So let's say I want to do Lakewood. I want to do Lakewood, and I want to do $1 million. I don't know if there's anything over $1 million right now in Lakewood. So I'm just doing Lakewood, $1 million. I'm copying this link, and now I'm going back to Facebook, and so it goes on there, and then when somebody clicks on it, like I said, I'm not sure what we've got over $1 million right now. There's nothing. Oh, there's one. There's one $1.2 million. So that's the kind of thing that sucks people in, right? They want to see. So do this along all of the coast. Now, the downside of this is you can only do this by city, neighborhood, or postal code. So you cannot do this by a shape map or anything like that. You can't do, there was something else that you couldn't do. It's a little bit restrictive, but you can make it work, right? You can do all of the condos in Lakewood. You can do low-end properties, high-end properties. You can do doubles in Lakewood, you know, whatever you want, and then you're creating this search that goes on there. And I do want to remind you that, so if you don't like the way this looks, right? Or if you don't like the way this looks, we actually did a class on this a couple of weeks ago where you can take something like that and make it customizable, and you can have the graphic be what exactly you want it to be. Maybe the graphic for this is a really high-end home and not this Real Scout search thing. You know, so there are ways to customize that as well. It's not part of this class, but if that bothers you, because that always bothered me, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I don't like this at all, because to me, it doesn't say what you're doing. It looks just like everybody else's. I want it to be customized. I wanted there to be a better message. So I could create a different graphic for that. So if you don't like that, if you feel the way about that I felt, you know, make sure that you're either watching the class about how to change that graphic, or you're asking me how to change it, because it will make your page much more engaging as well. All right, I think that is basically the whole program. So I know we've got about 6 of you on right now. If you need to type a question because you don't want to go live, does anybody have any questions? Remember that there is that help section on Real Scout. There's a help section on Real Scout. There's one on Engage. There's one on Open to Close. There's one on Buy Side. They are fantastic. Like, they truly, if you ever need anything, just stop there. You'll find it in a heartbeat. But for now, you can ask me the question. Bueller.
I'm just going to play around with it. I think that you answered most of my questions, so that's good. You're the best.
I'm the best. You're welcome, Melissa Perexta. Melissa Perexta said, thanks, Chris. Oh. All right, well, this is recorded, so I will post this up on our YouTube page. But I will tell you guys this. I will tell you this. We used to have a friend that he would say that to Jimmy, who was Puerto Rican. I will tell you this, Jimmy, the New York Yankees, that's how he would always talk. We loved him. Vince was
Are we really doing this in this time of
right?
like
I miss Vince. All of a sudden I miss Vince. I would tell you this, but that was one of his sayings. I would tell you this. I have not used Real Scout in a long time. I don't have buyers. I don't work with buyers. I spent about 15 minutes last night in the help tutorial section of Real Scout, just refreshing myself on how to go over all of this. And I basically learned everything that we just went over in an hour in 15 minutes. So they are incredibly useful. Don't be afraid. Like I said, most of the videos are 2 or 3 minutes long. It's so simple. And yes, Melissa, there is a YouTube page where I post most of these videos, just so honestly, it's more for my use and for my ease, because whenever we've got somebody new who comes in, rather than going over this all again, like, I want to be able to just direct them to the YouTube page. Like, there are some videos up there about how to do a barrister's net sheet, and the video that I was talking about on how to change the graphic on a link might actually be up there. You know, so it's just a place where I host videos to make them accessible for me, so I can send them off when somebody has a question about a program. But you guys are all welcome to use it and, you know, watch anything that's on there. All right, well, if there are no other questions, adios, muchachitos and muchachos.
Thank you, Miss Mary.
I'll talk with you guys. Bye.
All right, bye.